Hello. No. Oh. We're coming. I've been awake for a while now. You got me feeling like a child now. Cause every time I see your bubbly face, I get the tingles in a silver place, stars in my toes, and I crinkle my nose forever it.
Narito na ang Alien Talk kasama si Tony Israel.
Is it a plane? Is it a drone? Is it a UFO?
Kapulang Pilipinas, magandang gabi. Ngayon ay Oktubre 2, 2021, araw ng Sabado and araw ng Alien Talk. Kasama siyempre si Mang Ardo Ray. Magandang gabi sa iyo, Mang Ardo.
Magandang gabi, Kanton. Magandang gabi sa mga kasama nating nanonood ngayon at mga kasamahan natin na manonood later.
Yes, ang ating broadcast ngayon ay napapakinggan live sa Telegram. Kami ay samahan sa t.me/ka-anton-live. Yung mga papatulog na, kasi mas gusto yung nakapikit. At napapakinggan na lang yung ating mga sinasabi kaysa doon sa nanonood, di ba? Kanya-kanya lang yan. So may option na yung ating mga kasama. At ang maganda rin dito sa Telegram hindi matakaw sa bandwidth.
Yun. Kung audio lang. Pero pwede rin yung video, di ba?
Hindi tayo naka-video Hindi tayo naka-audio.
Ganun.
Okay. Ang audio lang talaga. Hindi matakaw sa bandwidth. Kaya kung ikaw ay nagsusubscribe ng iyong data, very ideal ang ating Telegram broadcast. At syempre, nandyan na si Raymond, si Margie, si Connie, kay Linda, at kay Dels. Ayan, sa ating Telegram channel. At bago nga pala lahat, binabati ko yung aking best friend na si Wilbert Lim Valencia ng kanyang ika-60th birthday.
Wow. Senior citizen na.
Hindi yan. A young senior citizen.
Young senior citizen.
Yes. May kanta yun We are the young senior citizens of the world.
Yung panahon natin, yung kay Cliff Richards. The young ones.
At siyempre, nataon naman din na 1 year death anniversary na isa nating masugid na taga-subaybay na si Roger Rabbit. Kung yung napapakinggan ng Wealth of the Nation natin, si Roger Rabbit ay nababanggit ko rito sa programa natin. At siya si walang iba kundi si namayapa na si William D. Yung ating kaibigan na taga Chinatown. Talagang minalas lang naman siya dahil nga dyan sa COVID na yan. So So, first death anniversary. Kaya hindi ko makakalimutan itong petsa na ito dahil yung aking best friend ay October 2 at yung ating man ang naging kaibigan sa pamamagitan ng ating mga programa ay ngayon ang kanyang death anniversary. So, nadagdag na dumadami ng ating Telegram participants. Nandiyan si Robert Celis ng Guimara, si Nene Maming, ay Nene, kay Edwin Delino, kay Romel Alcuasi, hindi ko masyado mabasa eh. So, salamat at manatili lang kayo mag-antabay. Dahil ang pag-uusapan namin ngayon ni Mang Ardo tungkol sa pakikipag-ugnayan ng mga aliens, di umano, ayon sa channeled message. Yung totoo ba yung channeled message na, kumbaga nakausap ko kagabi. Ay gaya ng ating naging panahon na si Rosa Montague, no? Gamit ang channeled message at nakausap yung mga aliens o nakausap kung sino man.
Merong parang spirit guide.
May spirit guide, whatever. No? At isa sa mga ipapaliwanag sa atin ni Mang Ardo, ito bang mga aliens ay tumutulong sa atin? Lalo na't ngayon ay dumadaan tayo sa isang sitwasyon na hindi natin maintindihan kung ano nangyayari. Binabati ko rin pala si Madam Princess Elizabeth, na kanyang kapapasok lamang dito sa ating Telegram. So ito ay may mga benevolent plans ba? O mga yung benevolent aliens ba ay nananalo? Tinatalo na ba yung mga dark elements? May mga dark cabal, etc. Yan ay ipapaliwanag sa atin yung Mang Ardo sa ilang sandali lamang. So ang ating katanungan o ang ating tatalakayin ay the Galactic Federation. Ito yung Galactic Federation yan. Di ba tinatanong natin kung totoo ba itong Galactic Federation o hindi? Siyempre nandiyan Galactic.
May iba-ibang pangalan kasi yan eh. Mayroong Galactic Federation of Light.
Yung G-Fold.
Tapos yung Galactic Federation of Worlds.
Yan, bago.
So, merong yung tapos merong kang you run across names like the Andromeda Council.
Yan. Si Sananda.
Ascended Masters naman yan.
Ito, so, and the Jupiter meetings. What's in it for humanity? Kasi nga, Ed, lalo na nung nakita mo si Uncle Klaus, di ba? Uncle Schwab. Binibihisan pala nila yung mga leaders na yan eh. Hindi lang si Uncle Schwab ang naka-costume, nakala mo Galactic. Nasa Galactic fleet siya. Yung kanyang uniforme. Meron din siyang kasamahan na ganun din ang uniforme. At talagang sigurado si Uncle Schwab na itong dinadaanan natin building back better, integration na nakatalakay na natin to last week, no? Integration ng physical, biological, and digital worlds. Pagsasamahin na yan sa lipunan natin ngayon. Hindi naman kaya, yan ay idea ng mga aliens at ito ay may kaugnayan dito sa ating tatalakaying Jupiter meetings. Ano ba itong Jupiter meetings, Ed?
Well, I'd like to start muna how I came about to suggest to you that we do this podcast talking about Jupiter. So we start from the beginning. So but let's not go back to 2006. Medyo malayo na yun. We can go back to within this year. So I remember I used to watch this movie Jupiter Ascending. Well, one, because I like science fiction movies. Pangalawa, I also enjoy watching yung star dyan, si Kunis ba yan? And then, pero yung theme ng movie talaga is about a group of aliens that are actually the one responsible for seeding Earth, and the reason they seed the different, and not only Earth but the different planets, was because they use the people, sabihin na lang na the Homo sapiens that were being seeded in the different planets as their own source of energy. And so you always run across that when you are into
Mm.
UFO, you go into higher dimension beings or
Mm.
spiritual beings. You turn, those are the kinds of terminologies that you run across, and that is one is that we are being used as an energy. So yung talking about energy, if you remember, you keep on asking about whether we are a matrix or we are a simulation. Sabi nga ni Elon Musk, my heart tells me no, but my mind seems to tell me yes. Sabi niya. But kung iisipin mo, and then ikaw, Canton, you were always
Mm.
telling me about itong movie na Matrix, na baka it is a defection of what is the reality that we are actually a simulation. And one of the things that that seems to be emphasized by many people is the Matrix, the movie Matrix, focused on Keanu Reeves or yung sila Samuel Jackson ba yan at saka si ano yun, yung sino ba yung Trinity, yung isa yung anyway, the characters na
Ah,
who goes in and out of the simulated universe, or call it the
mm.
simulated hologram
Mm.
of Matrix. But what is not focused on, or maraming sa nanonood ng, or they use Matrix as a metaphor or analogy, hindi they tend to gloss over the part of that movie where it is shown that ito palang mga tao na to are actually a simulation, the role playing that is being digitally being given to the human batteries. Remember, yung nandun sila, in reality, they were alive. They were naka-plug in sila doon sa parang
Pool.
power generator. So
Ah, isang
yung
bus.
brain nila, the brain was actually the one producing the energy that was
Mm.
being used by the architect or the
Okay.
author of that simulation.
Mhm.
So, ang karamihan naka-focus dun sa Matrix. Hindi naka-focus na meron palang, there is a person that is alive, pero he's being used, millions of them being used as source of battery for the machines, for the
Okay.
robots, for the
So
AI.
anong relevance nito sa Jupiter meetings? Eh,
Ngayon, tinanong mo ako, nalito na nakalimutan ko na tuloy.
sige na, sige.
The point is that yung we tend to gloss over certain aspects. Kung saan tayo naka-focus, we tend to gloss over on certain aspects of, let's say, a movie, an article, a book, whatever. So, saan tayo interesado, normally doon tayo naka-focus. So itong movie na Jupiter Ascending, this is just uh, an idea of, again, as you said, anong relasyon nito, is that in the movie Jupiter Ascending, humanity, yung people, not only on Earth but in other planets, were actually seeded by extraterrestrials. Now, that is a part of the story that may not have been focused on. Karamihan ang naka-focus doon yung royalty ng the royal lineage of the characters. So that is also one aspect, no? So pero yung aspect na ginagamit pala yung humanity as a source of energy and a source of longevity. Yung pahaba ng buhay para maging bata yung mga royalty ng aliens. So you can see the metaphor where I'm going to. Hindi na lang natin detalyado masyado, pero yung royalty, we're using the energy of the human, sabihin na lang natin yung mga humanity that were being harvested, uh, and their energy was used to come up with certain concentrated energy to keep them young and live longer. So, who are royalties? Yan, we're talking about royalties who wants to live longer. And where do they get their energy? So, in this particular movie, they get it from humanity. Okay? So, that was the first parang na-recall ko na, o nga pala, no, si Tony keeps talking about matrix, ganun, simulation, hologram. Pero there is an aspect to matrix which is the human being were being used as the batteries or the source of energy for the AIs, for the machines. And this movie, Jupiter Ascending, na-remember ko ngayon, tiningnan ko yung synopsis ng movie na yan. Yun nga, it also talking about humanity being used as a energy source. No? Energy source. Now, bakit napunta tayo dito? Bakit napunta yung thinking ko, yung suggestion ko sa'yo na why don't we talk about Jupiter? Because when one of our members, si Joseph Acona ata yun, Acona.
Akunya.
Acona yun, ano? So, he posted yung Michael Sala video. And when I was going over it, he basically discussed about the Jupiter Accord or Jupiter Agreement. No, so that sometime in July there was an agreement that was reached between the different ETs, Terrans, and certain representative of countries and ang tawag nito yung heads ng mga certain big corporations to produce advanced technologies. So parang gano'n. And nung pinakinggan ko yan, lumabas nga ito pala, these are informations that were given to Michael Sala by two individuals na turn out to be, sabi nila, medium, psychic, or channelers. But I think they feel more at ease being called mediums rather than channelers. Kasi yung tanong mo, what is a channeler, no? If you look at kung titingnan mo yung internet, marami kang makitang people who express themselves as channelers, na they receive messages and it's not actual, but what they do is they interpret these messages and express it to people. And I think one very famous is the brother of ano ba yung actor? Paul Anka?
Yes,
so,
yes.
No, si Anka. And this guy is si Baza. Sino ba yan? Yung channeler na Bazar. Oo, si Bazar.
So, Basan.
Something like that. Anyway, he was supposed to have come from the future. And yung in other words, yung espiritu na sina-channel niya is Bashar, who came from the future. Yun ang basic information. Now, itong dalawa na to na nagbigay ng information kay Michael Sala, there is a difference. Sabi nila, the channelers, sabi niya, the difference with channelers and us is that channelers tends to the practice of channeling is to open yourself, and they have And they have mentioned that the practice of channeling is dangerous because what happens when you do channeling is that you open yourself to outside entity to come into your body and speak through you while your spirit is set aside, no? So yun ang nangyayari daw if the way many of the channelers are doing the practice of channeling. They open themselves to outside entities and allow the entities to use their body to express themselves. And the danger of that is that when you allow outside entities to enter your body and to channel, they now have access to your whatever information you have in your head within your body. In other words, they will have access to all information. So they can now tell you, let's say if you want to talk to your grandfather or you want to talk to certain people, they can access that entity can access what you imagine that person to have information or yung information na gusto mo i-connect, merong ang knowledge na nasa utak mo will be accessed by that entity and he will know all the ins and outs of your feelings, your emotions, what you think of this particular person. So, kung alam nila 'yan, kung meron kang mga tanong, gusto mong matanong, they can express that. They can express that. And then the other one is that since these are entities from other dimensions, they have a broader picture of the events around the world, and they can express certain information that you may not know yourself. So, sabi nila, it's really dangerous because you are opening your body, your brain, your spirit to those other entities. Kaya there is a danger of possession or there is a danger of uh, attachment, yung parasites, yung spiritual parasites na hindi naalis sa katawan mo. And there are also danger of uh, you know, uh, hindi yung espiritu mo since pagbigay mo ng opportunity ng channeling, you set aside your spirit and then allow that entity to make use of your body. There is a possibility ayaw na rin nila ibalik yung they will not allow you to come back.
Mapusis na.
Oh, opposite ka na. Oh, so sabi na it's dangerous. Sabi niya the difference the two, si Ilana Danaan and kung bisa sa atin pa Daan, Danaan, and then the other one is Megan Rose.
Megan Rose. Yan, si Megan Rose na sa picture.
Ang difference nila is they are the two of them were abducted when they were still young. And the people that abducted them were negative forces or dark forces or dark aliens. Pero ang nangyari, they were rescued. They were rescued by the elements of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. And the implants that were in their heads were adjusted, modified, upgraded so that they could now be used as, or they can communicate with their contacts sa Galactic Federation. So in their case, it is not, sabi nila, yun ang difference sa aming channeling because it is not that we allow entities to come in, but rather we are communicating with certain individuals. And in the case of Ilana, sabi niya, it's Torman. Then the other one is si Megan is Balmec. So para kang nakikinig sa isang radyo o sa isang monitor, maliit na cellphone, makita mong images, marinig mo yung audio, yun ang how their messages are the how messages are transmitted to them and how they receive it. It is through the device that were implanted to them. So, uh, going back to Michael Sala, si Ilana and the Mega nagbigay ng information kay Michael Sala na there was a meeting of representatives of Terra, ang tawag nila mga Terrans, which is humanity, and the aliens. So, and this meeting was basically to relay the information that the 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 Draco Nabu and the ano ba yung sinasabi nila diyan na yung Orion Grace at saka yung reptilians who used to occupy the moon has been driven out. The same with the Draco and the reptilians and the Orion Grace in Mars has been driven out already. And they are now completing and only around 10% of the deep underground military bases or the deep underground bases, the dams that are being occupied by the dark forces are now remains and that they are slowly being eradicated. So expect basically ang message is that the war between the aliens has been won with the assistance of the Earth Alliance. Now, the Earth Alliance are the different white since the Galactic Federation of Worlds is the white hats in the cosmic realm. So, ang contacts nila sa Terra, the Earth Alliance are considered the white hats. So, they have also contacted certain individuals in government of the different countries who are considered to be white hats also. Hindi member ng deep state, hindi member ng dark cabal or dark forces. And that there were also certain corporations that were invited to join them, to join that meeting in Jupiter. And this was an agreement came out of that meeting for the different countries represented by different space space going or countries with space technology like sending satellites, that they would cooperate in the advancement of humanity through the technologies that will be released by the aliens. And these are already being produced in the Lunar Operation Center, sabi ni Megan at Ilana, on the moon. And then there were itong nakakatawa. According to Michael Sala and some of the statements being made by the cosmic, they call themselves the cosmic girls, na there were heads of the different corporations, and particularly si Elon Musk, si Jeff Bezos at saka si Richard Branson were present. And basically they were asked to join forces and help in creating the upgraded new space fleet of the Earth Alliance. Now, according to one of the information released was that the space fleet are being made in the those bases that were uh, taken over by the white aliens, the Federation, in Antarctica and in certain places on Earth, and on the Moon and on Mars. So certain space fleets, advanced and upgraded, are now being prepared, are now being built by this new group that came to being last July in Jupiter. So puro related. So sabi ko, yung Jupiter ascending, the Jupiter agreements ngayon, na they will cooperate together to create all this advanced technology. Ang maganda is that they're not only talking about the space fleets, but they're also talking about the the production of the medical pods and yung palaging naririnig natin, medical pods
Beds.
and the fusion fusion energy and all of that. So sabi nila, hopefully soon, all of this will come about. So, how soon is soon is still a big question. I mean, we have been hearing this since 2011. Ano,
Nga,
so, anyway, yun ang basic nila. So, what I'm saying is, ang I was telling you kanina when we were talking before the show kanina, sabi ko, isa sa mga interest ko, I mean, I like to listen to music. So, an old group, yung The Course, composed of three girls and a guy, magkapatid sila. Actually retired around 10 years ago. But I did not, I thought I'd listen again to their music, which were probably in 2010 or earlier. Nung nag-search ako sa YouTube, lumabas yung information that they have nagbalik sila to produce certain albums, and the two albums that they produced was the White Light around 2015, 2017 ganon. And then the other one was called Jupiter Calling. Sabi ko, Jupiter Calling. Sabi ko, why am I seeing the term Jupiter Calling, yung album nila, yung Jupiter Ascending, yung movie na I enjoy watching. In fact, I've seen it several times. And then, itong pinost ni Joseph na sa video ni Michael Sala, which is about Jupiter agreement. So, something must be pushing us to talk. Kaya sabi ko sa iyo, Tony, let's focus on Jupiter, on the Jupiter information from Michael Sala. So, yun ang dahilan why we are talking about Jupiter. And then you mentioned to me na Jupiter is the representation of
My Lord, Zeus. Di ba? Zeus. Tama ba? Tama ba ako?
Zeus.
Zeus, the god of thunder. At yung Peter niya yan, it means rock, the foundation. Kaya yung makikita daw dun sa St. Peter's Basilica na estatwa, purportedly, estatwa ni St. Peter, hindi yun. Kundi yan yung estatwa mismo bago pa nagkaroon ng istorya tungkol kay St. Peter na ang pangalan ay si Zeus. Yung Pietro, bato, Zeus Peter. Yan ang ano dyan. Yan ang correspondence daw niyan. Okay. So, ito sinasabi ba rito sa Jupiter meetings na to na natopple down na yung mga dark elements na nag-enslave ng humanity? Sinasabi ba rito?
Yeah. In fact, one of the information they released was that they were probably because they were driven out, no? So we can consider that they have won the war, the space war, and in the different bases and in the different locations where they drove out the dark forces, which is the Orion. Ang tawag ata nila na Nabu, if I'm not mistaken. No? Anyways, the Orion Grace and the Draco reptilians. The Draconian, when they were driven out, what remained? The beings that were left in the area were yung hybrids, yung human slaves, at saka yung mga employee nila, in Mars, there were also super soldiers. The para atang DNA enhanced or personal, yung mga enhanced soldiers. Isa dyan yung sinasabi si Cory Goody, enhanced soldier, ewan ko. Hindi ko, I don't know, but one person they mentioned was Goody. Si
Mm.
Sala, anyway, si Sala. So, uh, these people were mind controlled, okay? And their souls were also sabihin natin modified or transformed in such a way na hindi na nila maintindihan yung sarili nila. So what has happened is that all of these uh, na rescue beings that were rescued from the different military bases, from the different locations where the dark forces were occupying before, including the one in on Earth. They are now being brought to the Lunar Operation Center, the LOC.
Ano, na-detain
Just
sila
to
doon?
be- No, because that is where the first batches of the medical pods are being concentrated to help these rescued beings with their physical wounds, sabi nila, and the spiritual wounds. So there will be a two-stage. And basically, the medical pads uses medical healing frequencies to heal the body and to heal the spirits.
Mhm.
So, yun ang message that was brought na the the dark forces occupying majority of the DUMB, the deep military bases, those occupying the moon in the Lunar Operation Center and Mars were already driven out. Kunti na lang naiwan.
Ako
Yung lunar
naniniwala.
operation, yung lunar operating center, there is a transmitter there which transmit radio signals to Earth, which keeps the people of Earth subdued and under mind control.
People of
Na-dismantle na
Earth.
daw yun.
So in the
Na-dismantle na yun.
general population of Earth is
Ah,
being controlled mentally.
mentally,
And due
yung
to that frequency siguro, influence of the frequency that tends
that was
to,
being generated.
to
And there were two mentioned, two,
mm,
two, two ways that we were being controlled. One is through that moon lunar operating center where there was this beam being sent to Earth, and the other ones were satellites. So both of these, the
mm,
satellites and the that transmitter on the moon, has already been dismantled.
maganda yung sinabi mo kasi ancient knowledge dictates na ang influence ng behavior ng tao or yung attitude niya or yung mood niya is influenced by the moon according to sa
Ah,
cycle, di ba? Maging yung menstrual cycle ng mga babae influence din sa moon.
ah,
So kung meron palang dun sa meron palang technical underpinnings yan. Kung sinasabi mo na nagbi-beam out ng mga frequency para ma-influence tayo pero ginamit lang palang
ah.
yung moon as the moon base. So yun kaya ang possibility na explanation kung bakit nagbabago ang ating kaisipan, na impluwensya ng ating kaisipan according dun sa lunar phase.
Definitely. Kung in other words, it's not only the phases of the moon, but actually where the remember the moon is always facing Earth, di ba?
Mm, mm, mm.
In other words, the
One
the
side lang
the,
yan.
the revolution of the moon is just enough to keep it facing to Earth because the Earth is also going around, ano? So, yung beam na yon, so isang parte. So, part saang part yung kasi one side lang yan nakaganon sa bilog ng Earth. So kung dito ang moon, dito yan tumatama. Pero kung umiikot yung Earth ganon, where it faces the moon, yun ang kaya we have different phases of the moon because a part of the Earth is always being facing the moon, and that is what is being fully hit. Ang problema
Mm,
daw nila ngayon, even with and this is another information that was released. This is just, parang ito lang understanding natin on the basis of the information that we are listening to in the different videos. So, ang isa sa mga information na binibigay nun is that the problem, even if the transmitters and the satellites that were controlling us has been dismantled or deactivated, the people on Earth has been under mind control and influence for so long that we are comfortable with what is being done to us. In other words, para bang yung tinatawag lang Stockholm syndrome, 'di ba pag yung sa psychology sabi nila, kung you are being na-kidnap ka, na-hijack ka, after a while, you start to sympathize with
Your abductors.
the abductors, and they called it the Stockholm syndrome.
Okay.
Oh, so yung sa atin ngayon, we've been under mind control for quite a long time na hindi tayo we still cannot extract ourselves mentally out of that mind control scenario. So we are still creating our own fears kasi ang isa sa mga main purpose ng control is generation of fear. Para bang tinatakot tayo, para we are subdued, takot tayo, subdued tayo, we can easily be controlled both
Wala ba
mentally.
binabanggit dito sa Jupiter meetings na yung mga ganyang mechanisms na-dismantle na rin ng mga good forces? Wala nabanggit yan?
Nabanggit nga nila that actually there are several videotapes, hindi lang yan. So I have to go to the other tapes.
So in general, itong Jupiter meetings na to nasa bright side naman tayo nakatingin, and dito sa ating problema ngayon, maraming talagang nakikita na natin na maraming na mind control, no? hindi na makalabas doon sa kanilang paniniwala.
Yun.
Sa tingin mo kaya magbibigyan ito ng solusyon matapos itong Jupiter meetings, Ed?
Ang nangyayari kasi nito ngayon, ang sabi nila nangyayari dito, itong kasi hindi naman to nung July lang nangyari. The winning of the colony happened in the early part of this year ata, or towards the late part of last year. So yung Jupiter meeting, para bang yung meeting ni Stalin after the Second World War, di ba? Nag-meeting sino ba? Roosevelt, si Roosevelt ba yun? Si Truman, si Stalin, si Eisenhower. Hindi Eisenhower, Churchill. Sino pa yung pang-apat? Sa France? Sino ba yun? Basta di ba? Sino yung pang-apat na ako?
Hindi ko alam. Kung si De Gaulle ba yan? Di ba si De Gaulle?
I'm not so sure. But anyway, they had this meeting in Yalta to decide how to move forward since natalo na yung Germany and the Japanese. So, itong Jupiter meeting, sabi nila, is like that meeting in Yalta because we have already won and we are now trying to decide where to go, how to go forward. So, ang sabi nila is that is why they are involving the white hats of certain countries and the chief executive officers of certain big companies to help in the production of this. The direction is to produce the advanced technologies so that this could be used dito sa mundo natin. But yung medical pads na yon, they are meron na silang nagawa, but they have to use it muna in the moon sa Lunar Operating Center because doon ang gathering place ng lahat ng mga na rescue nila from the different colonies, the different bases and different location that was held who were held captive by the dark forces.
So with that makakaasa tayo, Ed, kaya na may mga lilitaw na namang unknown personalities, so previously unknown personalities, gaya halimbawa na mag-i-introduce ng ganitong technology, pero itong tao na to walang pinanggaling, walang masasabi na merong galing siya from a breed of scientist, from a breed of well-known businessmen. Hindi gano'n, ano? Walang progeny, kumbaga. Bigla na
Wala,
lang siyang
parang
lumitaw. Kagaya ni Elon Musk,
sinasabi,
bigla na lang lumitaw. Ang Bill Gates,
marami,
bigla na lang
marami
lumitaw.
namang, marami na namang, marami ng, like sila Ilana, sila Megan, sila Michael Salas, probably, hopefully, tayo or ikaw, ako, and some other of us with an open mind, uh, once we have start to understand what is happening, and then we also do meditation, that we're trying to raise our vibration. Sabi nila, you try to raise your vibration to a higher level, because when your vibration is at the higher level, hindi ka na pwede matakot.
Mm.
Kasi ang takot nila ngayon, ang sabi nila, fear is actually the purview of the lower dimensions, the lower densities. So, and then the fact that we have been uh, under mind control for quite a long time, na parang naging habit natin na to be mentally, to be ang mind controlled. We have the habit of being mind controlled, or to act as if we're still slaves. In in other words, yung pareho ba sa yung mga Jew who were rescued before, bukas na yung mga gates ng
Papunta sa
quarantine zone. Doon pa rin sila. They still sat down there and were waiting, as if they're waiting to die or something, ano? But yan daw ang sitwasyon natin ngayon. We are still under mind control, and there are still so there are still mga acolytes, mga followers of the dark forces. Kahit wala na yung amo nila, they act as if they are the amo. And then since they have been used to it for quite a long time, they continue to do so and act as if they are still the dark overlord of Earth. Tayo naman, since we have been under mind control, masyadong servile, masyadong kontrolado na yung utak natin for quite a long time, it is very difficult for many of us to get out of that mentality, to start thinking and be free. So, isa sa mga kailangan gagawin natin for those who are already awakened is to help all of these people to start getting awake. And you cannot do it through fear. So, and what is the opposite of fear? It is love. You do not seek to divide, but to unite. So, ang tingin ko nga dito ngayon, itong nangyayari sa ating mundo ngayon, instead of dividing, what they're trying to do is divide us, di ba? We should come up with mechanism to keep us together, to unite us. And how do we unite? Unite through love.
Okay.
And then to be able to do that, increase your vibration. How do you increase your vibration? Open your mind.
Meditation.
Ano?
May mga nagsasabi, meditation daw. Yung
Meditation
chakra
is
development. Buksan mo yung chakra mo, etc. Para maka-invite ka ng positive energies. Pero sabi nga nila,
learn to forgive yourself. Forgive others. Forgive yourself.
Pero sabi nila, selfish daw yun eh. Kasi sarili mo lang yun eh. Pero paano mo ma-spread yun? How can you make that achievement of yours contagious?
Because you have to, then if it is successful to you, then you share it with others. Like I keep telling people that I have tried morning ritual ko of drinking coffee with certain
circumambulation.
yung not only that, pero yung iniinom ko na kape with, like this, for instance, I'm drinking chaga mushroom. This is a chaga mushroom tea, that I'm drinking. This can help a lot. I mean, if you look at the internet, you can hanapin chaga mushroom. Sabihin mo, chaga mushroom tea, uses, benefits, and indication. Makita mo lahat yan ang what it is good for. And early in the morning, I always drink my coffee with turmeric,
Okay.
my
So
ginger.
dito sa, balikan natin itong Jupiter meetings, Ed.
Because this is related to your question, how?
Mm.
Therefore, in other words, if you know something that is positive to you share it. So,
Okay.
yung sinasabi na if you learn to meditate and you feel that through meditation, your spirituality has improved, then not is only focused to yourself, but you share it with others. By going outside of yourself and sharing, though you are empowered because we as human beings have our own, we have our own power to create, power to innovate, power
Mhm.
to do things.
So dito sa
Once
Jupiter,
we have released ourselves from that dominion and control, then we share. How did we go through that
ano
process?
mga
We share.
techniques?
Ano yung nalaman natin? We share it.
So
And
dito
those who will
sa
listen,
Jupiter meetings, Ed, ano ang value na makikita natin dito? Asahan ba natin na may mga panibagong breed of entrepreneurs na bigla na lang
well,
magpapakilala and
the point
sasabihin,
of the
hawak
Jupiter
namin
meeting,
itong technology nito, pero pag tinignan mo yung technology niya, out of this world naman talaga. Paano mo na-develop ito? Pero i-develop nila yan and makikilala na siya as such. Gaya ng pagkakilala kay Bill Gates 30, 40 years ago na may dala-dalang technology.
maganda
Develop
yung,
nila yan.
alam mo, like certain people, like our good friend
Elon
Bill Gates.
Musk, of course.
Ang problema is, once you, well, ang tendency kasi when we talk of the dark forces, they are also attracted to people with power. And if they see that you are moving up, you move up and then medyo mayroon ka ng influence, power and influence, ini-influence ka rin. Do you think these people were not influenced? They were influenced. Like, he started going out with your favorite suicide, si
Jeffrey?
Epstein.
Hindi, tsaka wala naman sanang problema kung si Bill Gates nag-stick doon sa kanyang discipline, no? Sa kanyang core of business core,
Yun nga,
yung idea niya. Kaya lang nag-venture siya ng ibang technology, lalo sa
hindi naman
biological
siya doktor.
technology
Hindi
na
siya doktor. Hindi siya
hindi naman siya
doktor.
doktor. Ay, kumbaga, wala na eh. Wala,
Pero
siguro
siya.
talagang na-saturate niya na yung kanyang level of curiosity dito sa IT. Wala na, kaya nag-venture na siya.
You are being kind. You are being kind to him. Your statements is being kind to him.
Kaya gusto naman niya yung OS ng operating system naman ng tao. So, kaya diyan ngayon siya nadali. Pero yun nga, asahan natin na may panibagong Elon Musk na naman siguro, bearing a different technology, kumbaga a breakthrough technology. Tapos yung kanyang mga sponsor, syempre, nandoon sa mga alien side, o yung mga benevolent or otherwise dark forces, na yun ang nagbigay sa kanya ng technology na yun, at i-develop niya to bring those technologies into physical fruition, physical attributes, ganun, na ma-develop niya. Pero yan na nga siya, budding o start on the rise. Diba?
The good thing about this Jupiter meeting is that the idea of the Jupiter meeting, and it is being released, the information is being released as part of the cosmic disclosure, is that it now puts more information or puts more meat to the bone of the existence of UFO and extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
So whether Elon, those CEO that were invited to join, will express it themselves, no, or release that information. But baka meron silang keep it quiet muna for the time being. But sabi nga ni Michael Sala, it seems that in some of the Twitter statements na binigay ni Elon Musk, he has started mentioning about the existence of the Solar Warden. The Solar Warden are the first space fleet, the first of the space fleet to guard our solar system, which comprises the Earth Alliance. So yung the white hats in our solar system. So ang magandang tanong mo kanina, anong maganda diyang Jupiter meeting na yan? It basically one that we have already won, no? Second is that there are things that will be coming, that will soon be coming. Yun ang sabi nila, soon coming, such as medical advancement. They are already building. Ngayon daw, what they're doing is they're upgrading the space fleet. The space fleet that was used by the Earth Alliance in the last few years is now being upgraded. And in fact, the building of this new space fleet is not only within our solar system, but also outside our solar system. So that would mean outside our solar system in another solar system na mention yan eh. So sabi ko, the nearest solar system from us is Alpha Centauri, which is 4 light years ata, 4 light years away. So baka doon ang bagong space fleet na also being prepared, being constructed. But on Earth, they are also starting to build the advanced technologies. So yun ang tanong mo nga, kung what good is that Jupiter meeting? Yeah, that is the the good thing about, that is what basically is being ano ba yan? May term yan eh, yung
Expectations.
it is the expectations of things to come.
Of things to come.
Oo.
So, unti-unti na ini-introduce sa atin. Pero ito naman ang target daw dito, sabi nasa year 2060 pa. Baka hindi ko naabutan to kung 2060 pa.
Yung sinasabi naman nilang 2060 because they were one expression was that kung titingnan mo yung sabi, there was one video wherein they tried to estimate how long it will take to build a space fleet, and they made use of the Australia. Remember, Australia wanted to develop a new set of submarines. France was supposed to supply the submarine, but the submarine that was supplied to Australia were the standard, yung diesel, the non-atomic diesel submarines. So, ang gusto ng Australia is to get the more advanced submarines, the atomic, more advanced submarine. And the projection was 10 years. It will take 10 years for them to get 8 new atomic nuclear submarines. Pero ang sabi nila, it might be that this is just used as a camouflage. In reality, what is now starting to be built is actually the new, what is being expressed actually is actually a camouflage of the building of the new space fleet. So, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Baka ito na yung sinasabi ni Klaus Schwab. Sa World Economic Forum, building back better, baka kasama na ito, Red. Hindi lang yung sinasabi.
Yeah, ang sa akin is that I always keep on saying when you mention that is that sometimes we judge things by the fruits, the fruit, the sweetness of the cake is not in the cooking but is in the eating. Ano talagang lalabas nito? Ang problema kasi, when we talk of characters like Santa Claus, ang direction na sinusunod nila is not the direction of the white hats, but rather the direction of the dark hats. And that is always dominion and control.
Yung elitist attitude nila, yun ang problema.
Yan ang problema.
Hindi siya for the masses to understand. Kaya
when the basic characteristics of the white hats or the sabihin na natin yung the positive forces is actually to empower the human beings, to empower humanity. While ito namang isang dark forces na ito, their they pursue the idea of dominion and control. Talagang to make you a slave. And there is only an elitist group that is separate and distinct from the general masses who controls and dominates the population. So
And yan yung
between these two, we always want to be on the empowerment side.
and partly ito nga yung nakikita natin, yung enslavement, na umiiral na ngayon, unti-unti na at na-experience na nga natin ito kaya napag-uusapan yung mga ganitong bagay.
The intensity, ang sabi nito ngayon, it seems that the one leading the fears that is being spread out to the world, the fear is being led by those who think that they are the overlords. May it turn out that they are just actually the clerks, the clerks of the actual overlords of the planet. But they think that they are, para ba yung kanta ng mga Bulanon, no? Yung langaw na nakaluntod sa isang kalabaw. Nandun tumapo sa isang kalabaw, akala na siya lang ang kalabaw. Pareho yan nangyayari ngayon. Itong naiiwan ng mga dark forces sa mundo ngayon, they are actually the remnants of the sabihin na lang natin yung mga administrators, mga clerks, who thinks that they are the lords, but they are not. And the problem is that, sabi nga, ang explanation nila, then why is it continuing until now? If you have already won and you have already dismantled, well, there is a good explanation. You have been a slave for hundreds of years. You have been, this is, in other words, it's not only last year that you were enslaved. You have been slaves for hundreds of years. And that, remember yung malaking, isa sa mga umiikot na mga kwento dyan sa UFO space, the Dark Knight. Yung hindi maintindihan bakit may isang satellite na
Yes. Parang
diba?
Batman.
Yung they call it the Dark Knight, but it seems to be an indication of remnant of what was being done hundreds of years ago. So yung servitude natin, yung being slave mindset natin of being slave, to be easily fearful, and being fearful you can easily be dominated and controlled, continues to be in our mind. In our majority of our people, or most of our people, still has not gotten out of that paradigm of being a slave and being controlled. And for many few who has already awakened and already can understand what is happening, must help all of those, must help the rest of humanity get out of that. So the white forces, and as slowly as we become more awakened, those who are acting as if they are the king, they are the emperors or royalties, mawawala ito eventually.
Pero maganda yan na siguro sa susunod itapik natin yan. Yung sinasabi mong how to get out of the system. Nasa nasa nuclear yan, sa nucleus ng ating society, nasa pamilya. Nandun din, very yung well-entrenched na rin yan at well-founded na rin yan. No? Sa pamilya pa lang, sa family level pa lang, napakahirap na.
What is being done to us now is very divisive.
Totoo. May nakausap nga lang ako kanina, ganyan ang problema niya. Ayaw niyang gano'n. Pero isolated siya. Hindi ka pwedeng sumama sa amin. Hindi ka pwedeng makikain sa amin. Mag-isa ka sa buhay mo. Papahintulutan ka namin huwag magpunta sa center. Basta may rules tayo, may protocol tayo. Huwag kang makikipaghalubilo. So doon pa lang, kapatid nila yan, anak niya at nanay niya, ganun. So mahirap, no? Mahirap. Kaya ito, inaatake tayo hindi lang dun sa social level, kundi mismo dun sa family level pa lang. Yung
Their
division is,
intention is to destroy the family unit
oo, totoo.
because everything starts with the family unit.
Oo. Napakahirap nitong makawala, kung paano ka makawala. Kung makakalag doon sa kaula na yan. Na wala naman tayo nakikitang cage, pero nasa isip mo nga, tama yung sabi mo, nasa isipan mo yung kaula na yan dahil yan yung sinusundan nating sistema.
For so long, you have been following that system for so long that you do not see if you do not have an open mind and if you're not trying to analyze what is happening, you tend to stay in that comfort zone. And your comfort zone is being fearful and being a slave.
Matindi itong ginagawa nila sa atin ngayon. Pero maraming lessons tayo natututunan at naobserbahan, pero siyempre yung anong pathway para masolusyonan yan, hindi pa natin alam, hindi pa natin nakikita. So parang nakikita natin yung impact na itong ginagawa nila. From the family level pa lang, matindi na ho. Kaya may nag-ano nga sa akin, Ed, ayaw daw niya magpaganon. Sabi niya, pwede ba ako tumira sa'yo, Anton?
Ano ba yan?
Ha? Ewan ko kung nagbibiro siya.
Mamaya na lang ako tatanong sa'yo.
Hindi ko alam kung nagbibiro siya. Ha? Dahil nga hindi niya kaya yung family pressure, kaya napipilitan.
Actually, yung sa akin ngayon, what I mean, my stand as far as that situation is concerned. Pero yung ibang miyembro sa amin, sa pamilya ko, they went through the process. But yung isa doon, yung dalaga pa, kinausap ko, sabi ko, you can come back kasi you can come back to the house. Your mother and I will take the risk, sabi ko, for you, but you return to the house. So you do this kind of attitude. This is, instead of dividing, you unite.
And yan siguro ang natin ngayon, mga future directions. If we could only master or gradually learn how to unite the forces between the people or the group of people that went through the system and the group of people who defied, ay paano natin ito mapagsasama towards a unified goal. Kasi definitely yung mga naganunan marirealize nila later na biktima rin sila.
Ang sa akin lang naman is that you keep your family intact. Keep them together. Kahit na iba-iba yung decision na ginawa. Your intention, you should look at this as the family unit being kept together. And since we believe na yung I can help you, taking the I protocol, na, yung iniinom natin, if we believe in that, then we believe that we are protected. So that if we bring in those that decided otherwise, kung matamaan man, it's going to be minor.
Kaya ang kapatawaran pa manggagaling dun. So, ang pagtanggap muli, manggagaling pa dun sa mga hindi nagpaala, di ba? Dapat baliktad, sila ang tumanggap sa atin dahil di tayo protektado na sana sila, di ba?
But normally yung I mean it could be the other way around. But we these are the things that we show. That's why I'm sharing it with you and to all the people that are here. Now, in my case, it's the other way around. But I'm willing to take the risk and bring the family together.
Tama ka dyan. Leksyon na natutunan natin sa Jupiter meetings. Pero nagkaroon ng fusion yung idea na uwi tayo sa kwentuhan dahil yun naman ang realistic view. Paano natin ito ma-apply dun sa actual problems natin ngayon, actual challenges natin ngayon. Tama.
So we just have to keep at it in sharing the information that we know, expressing ourselves through the podcast that can break through. I will use the term break through the algorithm.
Tsaka siyempre, yung mga solusyon na ganyan, talaga family-based, i-settle nyo muna yan within the family. Meron nga akong nakausap last week, sabi ka, Anton, paano to? Paano magkakaroon ng posible magkaroon ng rationing, food shortages, anong gagawin natin? Sabi ko, wala akong magagawa yan. Simulan mo sa pamilya mo. Mag-isip ka kung
Ah,
paano mo masisave yung pamilya mo dahil eventually hindi natin pwede gawin yan ng isang community o
ah,
magsasama-sama tayo dahil we don't have the strength and we don't have the resources to protect ourselves when that time happens. Tayo naman din ang raransakin ng mga ibang community na hindi nakapaghanda. Tayo magpiprep
ah,
tayo, di ba?
ah.
Pero paano naman yung hindi? Pag nalaman nila na
Remember,
preparation,
remember
kawawa tayo.
yung pinag-usapan natin scenario building na ginagawa nila. They
Mm.
do a scenario building and then later on, months or years later, nangyayari yung ginawa nila scenario.
Mm.
And ano ba yung last scenario ginawa ngayon? It's cyber warfare.
Mm.
So, they just finish it this year. Yung cyber warfare na scenario making. Yung favorite kay Santa Claus.
Mm.
Si Santa Claus ang umpisa nun, di ba? Yung umpisa ng nangyayari ngayon was also Santa Claus. Ngayon, Santa Claus together with all the elites and the oligarchs. So, ngayon, ang sitwasyon ngayon is that they're coming up with a scenario of a cyber warfare. And ang mangyayari nito that the logical, ang tina-target ngayon is the chain, the supply chain or the logistic or the logistic trail of food, electronics, parts, everything. In fact,
Lahat.
nag-uumpisa na ngayon na some parts in the US are having problem now to repair cars because the parts, the silicon, the chips for the cars are not arriving. Ano? And then if the problem in the UK ngayon, if you will listen to the news ngayon, is the gasoline.
Yes.
The supply chain of gasoline. Ito naman, ang problema dito is the truckers. Di ba? So, konektado ito. So, if you don't have gasoline ngayon in UK, how can the people move? So
yan, pag-usapan natin yan unti-unti. Siguro makikita natin yung mga potential na magagawa natin on the family level. Yan,
start with yourself, share, start with the family. It's yourself and the family.
Prepping. Pero sa collective level, masyadong malayo na yan. At hindi pa natin yan kung paano natin yan mapapanatili.
Forecast yun lang ko ngayon is we don't, maybe starting now would be, I mean, if you just start now, if you just starting today or tomorrow or whatever, it may be too late because there is a bright light. Sabi nila, the bright light is coming next year. We're talking of 3 months from now. September, October, November, December, di ba? October na tayo ngayon eh. October, November, December. 3 months. Pag January dyan, the light, ano to, sabi na, the light at the end of the dark tunnel will be seen already by January. Makita mo na. Yun ang prediction. One of those who predicted that is our favorite, si Clip High. Yung predictive linguistic bots na ginagamit niya.
Bigla pumasok sa isip ko, Ed, kasi tayo, ginawa nilang dependent na ngayon sa importation pagdating sa food supplies. Yung sibuyas galing China, bigas galing kung saan, Vietnam. Pagka naputol yung nasabing chain, ano ba yan? supply chain.
Supply chain.
Gutom tayo ngayon.
And the worst place to
Gutom tayo
be,
ngayon.
if there is a problem on food, the worst
Food.
place to be is in the city, where I am,
Mm,
where you
very
are.
well.
Oh.
Kami madali lang. Pwede kaming mag-cross
I
country.
don't. And I can cross country going to ano. That's why I walk every day at least
Ito na,
between
sabi
2
na
to
naman.
5 kilometers a day. Kasama si Commander.
Kita mo yung kamatis dun sa kamatis dun na tinapon lang. Doon sa Baguio ba yan, sa Benguet.
Oh, kasi hindi nila ma-transport to.
Takot yata yung siguro nagpapigil nun yung DOH eh. Huwag niyong dalhin dito sa Maynila yan, sabi ni Duque. Bakit? Kunyari lang, biro lang Duque Kasi baka batuhin lang kami ng kamatis.
Ayan, baka yun ang rason.
Yun daw.
Itlog, baka yung itlog. Kasi ngayon, pwede ka rin batuhin ng itlog.
Sa pipigil yung itlog. Okay. So, sa ating pagbabalik, yung ating mga Q&A, mga ibang concern, kanina nag-raise ng hand si Connie Gonzalez. Sa aming pagbabalik ay ready kaming tumanggap ng ating mga tanong o comment sa Telegram at dito sa ating StreamYard chat box. Huwag po kayong bibitiw. Sandali lang ito. Pagpapahinga lang ang aming bibig. Alright. Ating nang dakuan ng ating mga comments sa mga nasa Telegram. Pwede ko kayo magtaas ng inyong mga kamay. At para yan ay aming makita at patutuloyin namin kayo. Annie Jensen. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Annie. Good evening po sa inyo, si Red Sir Anton. Kay Love Peace, good morning po from Canada. Hello. Ako yung Canada.
Hello.
Magulo ngayon, Ed. Magulo sa Canada ngayon. Si Bobby Galvez, good evening po. Love Peace, good topic po. Thank you, Love. Nida Lascota Peralta, watching from Northville, Caloocan. Josh Carillo, magandang gabi po. Ka-Anton, ka-Ed. Si Adrian, magandang gabi si Adrian. Kay Marilyn Anota, hi. From Hong Kong yata to si Marilyn. O nandyan sa Japan. Sa inyong dalawa, Sir Ed at Sir Anton. Adrian Diaz, magandang gabi. Kay Johanna Leonie Rose Yamelo Estola, Sir Anton, Sir Ado, good evening po at sa lahat ng mga manunood. It's nice to be back. Tagal na pong nakapanood ng live. Sabi ng matino na doktor, ay po talaga effective lalo na pag may vitamin C, D, E. No.
Yes. Ako, nawala si Canton.
May napindot ako.
Where are you?
I'm here, I'm back. May napindot akong si Ronald Cuyno, this October may magaganap na malaking pagbabago. Sana matuloy. Ano kayang pagbabago yan, Ronald? Sana nga. Gumamela, Sir Ed, ang hirap ngayon ma-identify ang positive forces at negative forces. Tama ka dyan. Paano ba yan?
Well, you just have to keep on, ano. For one, sa akin is the positive forces are always, yung sinabi nila na the white hats will always look towards your empowerment. Pero kung tinatakot ka, hindi yun, hindi yun white light, hindi yun white. If the statements and the things that is being said to you are making you more fearful,
Kung,
hindi yun. It should be empowering. It should be more towards freeing you to keep you.
hindi, kung maganda ang epekto sa'yo, di positive yun. Tama ba ako doon, Ed? Kung hindi
Well,
naman magandang
we're
epekto
saying,
sa'yo, di
ang tanong
negative.
kasi niya is, ang effect kasi yun eh. Ang what I'm saying is, yung
Hmm.
tinatanong niya,
O
how
yung
do you
forces, paano
identify?
natin
How do you
madidetect?
identify? Oh.
Oo.
So if what is being said to you is more empowering to you, then that's yung getting
Vis-a-vis
you.
slavery.
Pero kung tinatakot ka, eh, iba yun.
Mhm.
The
Okay,
the fear
nakupuwersa
is
ka,
the tool of the dark forces. Eh.
napipilitan ka. Ay, magandang gabi sa'yo, Faye. Kay Maria Arlene Teves, good evening. Oo. Kay Cheryl Mali, good evening mga Ardo, Kaanton sa lahat tagapakinig. Gemini, puno talaga ng misteryo ang mundo at mga misteryosang tsekwa na nagpapayaman sa Pilipinas. Yun ang nakakalungkot, Gemini. Nakakalungkot, hindi man lang mamigay. Ay, yung 8 billion ng Parmali, no? Mabibigyan na sana tayo ng ilang libo bawat tao. Ay, Madam Princess,
Ano yung Kanton, ano yung sinabi mo kanina? May balita na may nakitang sa warehouse. Ilan yung 50 million
50 million na coins,
worth
mamiso.
worth of coins.
Oo.
Yung Sinsilio.
Pero alam mo, palagay ko, bankero may-ari nun eh.
Ganun ba?
Oo, bankero may-ari nun. Ang laki-laki ng bahay, ginawa ng bodega.
Ah.
Barangay Toro, Quezon City. Tapos may mga luxury cars na nakita ron na hindi naman ginagamit. Ay, Madam Princess, Faye Faldes told me that so in your timeline about the passing of Dante, Star 88. Yes, oo, si Chairman Dante Valencia ay namayapa na ho. No,
Matagal na
hindi
yun,
ako
di ba?
nagkakamali nung Miyerkules.
Bago lang ba?
Bago lang.
Mm.
Dante Valencia, at saka man naroon. Lolito Patiño, magandang gabi sa inyong tanan. Unsa na balita sa ating WOTN na ba redemption sa mga global assets like mga boxes and bonds, Canton? Wala pa. Wala pa.
Awanan.
Anin pa. Pero interview natin si Madam Princess tsaka si Dokari. Nag-usap sila nung last Tuesday. Tuesday. Aalamin ko kung anong napag-usapan nila. Ha? Ay, tamsak at love po. Love din sa iyo, Lizelle. Hello and shout out. Eliz Moreno, ang alien po ay tauhan ng Satanas. Huwag po tayong palilinlang. Talaga pong malapit na ang pagbabalik ng Panginoong Hesus. Ipapakita ng fallen angel ni Taning. Joanna, Sir Lolito, ipanghatag na ng Bulawan aron mapagmaligya na o mapuslanan palabi na karon kay maabot ang adlaw wala na naipulos. Unta kay masabtan nimo nga naa mo abot na di pa mahitabo sa tibuok kalibutan. Kaya nga, Ed, benta mo na yung Bulawan mo. Ganda ang topic, makinig na lang, nababasag mi ang plato. Sabi ni Lizelle. Ferdinand Divelas, good evening to you, both of you. Ferdinand, Elise Moreno, wag po tayong palinlang sa mga alien, wag po tayong palinlang sa mga lalabas na kababalaghan. Ayun, mga Galactic Federation, sinasabi daw, fake daw yan, Ed eh. Ronald Estrada, good evening, Canton, Kaardo.
Pero nagsasabi gano'n, yeah.
Kamusta na kaya yung San Mateo sighting sa 2 episodes last year? Magka-feature po uli sa kanya. Tapos sasabihin ko kay Christian Carion to get in touch with si Joe. Si Joe ng San Mateo.
Diba?
Oo. Nandun sa creek. Yung kanyang UFO. Maricel Lorente, good evening. Claude Salvador, hi Claude, magandang gabi. Lolito Patiño, wala man kay Bulawan, Ma'am Joanna, naalang kay nahibawan nga commodity considered as global assets. FRB. May significance ba yung mga mini earthquakes nakaraan na sa dams? Ed, yung mga earthquakes, meron kaya yan?
Depende sa location. Kasi one of the, para sa akin, more of the, more rational and logical presentation of earthquakes, yung kay Ben Davidson.
Tapos yung parang may mga man-made earthquakes, yung mga dams na malapit dun sa Washington DC, dun sa mismo, sa ilalim ng White House.
Sabi ko nga, depende sa location yan because
Depende sa location. Baka iba
depende sa
pinasasabugan na
some might
talaga.
be real earthquakes, the other might be, sabi nila, talagang inatake na yun sa ilalim.
Sa raw news, yung raw news, yung mga chismis news, patay na daw si Bill Gates, na-execute na. Sabi. Sabi. Tapos si Clinton, nalason. Mga ganun ang chismis ngayon dyan. Nasa Guantanamo. Hindi na sila kagwanta. Guantanamo! Huwag makagwanta mo.
Guantanamera ang naisip ko
Julie Fernandez, magandang gabi ka Anton Kaed, Ma'am Elizabeth Malin Ruiz. Keep safe everyone. Kay Teresita Kasinsinan. Good evening, Kanton. Sir Ed, watching from Binangonan, Rizal. Jupiter expansion siguro.
Sino yan? Sino?
Teresita Kasinsinan.
Baka may alam siya na I'm looking for a small piece of land sa Tanay.
5,000 square meters.
Hindi naman. Kahit na mga 1,000 lang, okay na.
Okay. Sa Tanay, sa Binangonan. Jupiter expansion.
May maganda dyan Mayroon siyang observation park dyan Malapit dyan.
Tanong natin kay John Madrigal, ka-member natin sa UFOSP. Nandun siya ngayon nakatira sa sa
Tanay ba siya?
May bahay siya sa Tanay, sa Cainta. Pero nag-relocate siya ngayon doon sa Siniloan, Laguna.
Siniloan.
Expansion siguro nasa time of expansion time, maybe correlation sa sunspots until 2027, sabi ni Claude. Gina Oliveros, watching from 13 Martires. Hi Gina. Christian Caldita, good evening.
Si Jean Claude? I hope I don't know kung you have already, if you're following Ben, yung suspicious observers.
Kasi may correlation daw ba yung Jupiter sa sunspots ng 2027? Yun ang sabi niya.
No, normally there is in terms of the alignment of planets.
Okay.
I mean, every time, para bang every time planets align in either direction with the sun, nahihila yung para bang naghihigupan sila sa yung gravity.
Christian Caldita, good evening. Kay Ed Anino from Davao. Gandang gabi ka Anton at Cardo. Ed Anino. Ma'am
Ano ba
Elise.
nangyari sa yung executive order sa Davao?
Saan ba yun? Tungkol saan? Nakalimutan ko na.
Yung tusok-tusok ni Sarah.
Walang nangyari. Walang nangyari. Yung sa Romblon yung huli ko. Nakalimutan ko na yung EO ni Sarah. Ha? Michael Daisy Minion, kanto last Saturday, may pinasa sa akin kasamahan ko sa spiritual video ni Elizabeth April, EA. Then pinakinggan ko nga, ang Earth nasa labas na ng Earth, ang Secret Society, then above Secret Society is the Galactic Federation. Now, habang naka-headset ako, weird lang na nakarinig ako ng ugong ng sasakyan, narinig ko na yun minsan, nung nasa Ciudad Verdadero kami. And then Sunday na GC ng Juan Daquila, pinag-uusapan namin paano matatalo o anong gagawin ng Dark Forces para ganun. And then Anton, sabi ni Michael, Daisy Minion. Buti naman ang nakarating ka rin sa Ciudad Verdadero. So nakaranas din siya ng parang ng sasakyan na narinig ni Michael Daisy Minion. Kami naman ni Eddie, iba naman yung aming karanasan doon sa Ciudad Verdadero. Basta kaya si Art Katakis, si Mr. Art Katakis, kamusta na kaya?
He's still around, di ba?
Oo. Malaki ang...
We still have an open invitation doon,
Malaki ang naitutulong ng Ciudad Verdadero, binibiro mo.
Oh.
Naipatayo niya yan dahil nanalo siya sa loto. Dyan, sinabi niya, pag nanalo ko sa loto, magpapatayo ako para sa inyong mga aliens. Aba, nanalo nga. Ayan, ang Ciudad Verdadero. Okay. Jason Mas.
Di ba may alien tower doon, yung
Meron.
communication tower? No?
Sarap din tumira doon. Why do you think the Philippines does not appear on the Stargate leyline map? Leyline the map.
Ay, meron because the ley line is not only yung kasi I was telling, di ba yung ginawa natin noon,
May
there is
plotting
a
time.
intersection, a major multiple intersection of the ley line sa Davao.
Sa Davao. Di sa may
Ikulan Davao. Oh, yung harap ng SM City.
Kaya pala yung billion-billion, kayang-kaya nilang transact dahil
Oo.
yung ley line.
Pero yung medyo, basta yung multiple, multiple intersection. Kasi mayroon kasing minor, mayroong major, mayroong...
Pero yung ley line dyan sa Davao, yung mga ibang points niya na lumabas ng bansa, ganun ba Ed?
Oo, yeah. Kasi yung ley lines kasi, it's all over the world. No? So, may plot yan, mga ginagawang plotting, may mga plotting siya. So, where these different ley lines are intersecting, may mga spots yan. So, one of these spots na nakita ko is actually Ikulan. Okay. Now, how did I find it? Okay. You have to download a plug-in, yung tinatawag na KML files. Ang tawag niya KML files. Yung hanapin mo yung ley lines KML files. Mag-internet search ka ng, this is the KML lines for the Google Earth. So pag na-install yan doon sa Google Earth, pag click mo niyan, makita mo lahat ng ley lines all over the world. So nung hinahanap ko yung mga intersection sa Philippines, Ikulan is where I found the most number of intersection.
So pag nag-ritual ka doon, sigurado
malakas ang energy doon.
Siguro may nag-ritual doon, kaya doon napunta 8 billion, ha?
Maybe that's the reason why, anyway, kalimutan yan. Pero I think that's one reason why SM City is there.
SM, mga barya, naglaglag na lang doon. Nalaglag yung mga barya. Yoga union with lies.
So yun ang how to determine the ley lines.
Sa akin Anton, babalitaan ko ang puting liwanag. Yung mga taong mahal mo, friends, relatives, tapos after nun, palalabasin mo liwanag mo sa labas ng earth. Babalutin ito ng liwanag para maalis ang kadiliman. Ewan bakit ko nasabi yun. Yung liwanag dapat umabot sa gumawa ng kasamaan. Weird lang talaga yung gold na dragonfly na pumunta sa bahay ko nung hinarang ni FB. Yung isesend ko, paano magpapakawala ng liwanag. Ang tagal ko nang hindi nakita ng dragonfly, kaya na-weirduhan po talaga ako, Anton. Gusto ko, sayang yung golden dragonfly na yan. Paano ba yung liwanag na yun, Ed, na paano mo mai-emanate yan from within you that others would be able to see or somehow?
I think I still have it here. Tingnan ko. Yung, one time, remember the late director, si Direk Tanyada?
Yes, Filino.
Si Filino is a believer, a strong believer of guardian angels. So, talagang he can communicate with his guardian angels. The reason for that is that one time when he tested, sabi niya, kung nandyan kayo talaga, you give me evidence, yung bigyan mo ko ng evidence na hindi pangkarani, correct ba yan? Pangkaraniwan? Hindi the usual. Alam mo, ang kinuwento niya sa akin, ang nakita niya is yung a very long golden hair, yung buhok na mahaba, gold ang color, or blonde, sabi niya blonde. Sabi niya, Ang problema is nahulog doon sa loob ng kotse while he was driving. Saan galing yun? Sirado naman, naka-aircon yung kotse niya eh. So,
Hindi mo nakalimutan yun, ha? Hindi mo
kwento
nakakalimutan.
niya yan, di ba? I know, have you heard that kwento also niya? So, hindi ko kalimutan yan because nangyari sa kanya, no? Okay, I'll tell you, in my case, ganito, I also pray a lot. I mean, every time I do my walk around sa exercise, yung tinatawag mong circumambulation sa bahay ko, I always talk to my guardian angel. So, one time, sabi ko, kung talagang totoo kayo, kung totoo kayo, tinesting ko rin yun. I'm thinking of Direct Pilino, no? Ayan. Sabi ko, kung nandyan kayo talaga, give me a sign. Give me a sign na, sabi ko. And then I asked, sabi ko, you send me a white feather. I don't know if you still remember. Pinakita ko sa iyo yun.
Feather. Nandiyan pa yan. Di ba tinago mo?
Days after, I think a few days or a few weeks yun. Talagang may nakita akong feather sa loob ng where I was walking. Ganito kahaba. It was a long feather. Mahaba na feather. I think I still have this. You continue walking. I'll try to check kung nandito ba sa aking kahon.
Okay. At yan. Sabi pa ni Michael, tapos Canton, nakakabasa ako kahapon kung paano mag-meditate ang mga Pleiadians. Pagpapalabas ng liwanag hanggang sa labas ng Earth. Weird ko talaga. Hindi naman po ako natatakot. And pwede mong i-develop yan, Michael. No? Simulan mo, magbasa-basa ka kung paano sinisimulan yan, matututo ka, mag-aaral ka, and then recollection ng mga experience mo. Kung mas maganda, kung magsusulat ka, isusulat mo yung mga karanasan mo. Day to day. Halimbawa ngayon, normal lang, ganyan. Tapos kinabukasan, unti-unti kasing lalapitan ka na yan. Unti-unting makaka-attract ka na ng mga vibrations, frequencies, or mga elements. No? And unti-unti kang makakaramdam. So napakahalaga na meron kang notes. Day 1, day 2, day 2, day 3, day 4. Kasi araw-araw hindi naman pare-pareho yung ginagawa mo. No? So yung the best experience mo, malalaman mo kung ano yung ginawa mo. Anong particular na narrative o yung narration. Yung recital mo, ni-recite mo. Anong binanggit mo nung gabi na yon. Mababalikan mo and then mauulitin mo para makuha mo yung best experience mo. Kaya kailangan mo ng mga notes kung nagsisimula ka.
Canton.
Sandali. Yes.
Sige. Itong ebidensya.
Lumipad ba yan?
I don't know. I mean, I talk with every time I do that walk around ko. And then one time, teles ko, sabi ko, kung nandyan kayo, you show me. No? And I asked specifically for this. Sabi ko, send me a white feather. Sabi ko. Yan, ito ang nakita ko. So, a few days after, a few weeks after, while I was walking around, ito yung nakita ko. Then doon sa, where I was walking doon, nakita ko ito. So, I've been keeping this until now. Yan.
You should.
This is an evidence. I asked for it. Lumitaw siya. Ayun.
Tama.
So,
yan.
it's here. I'm not, in other words, when I shared this story, it's not kwento lamang, kwento ko siya. Talagang nangyari sa akin, no? So I keep
mangyayari din yan sa iba. Mangyayari
sa iba yan, no?
Para mape-perfect mo lang yung practices mo. No? Kaya kung mag-start ka ng meditation, Michael, yun, yung aking pinayo, go ahead. Pero ilista mo yung experiences mo day to day para may mababalikan kang notes. This October may magaganap na malaking pagbabago. Sana matuloy, sabi ni Ronald Cuyno. Gumamela, Sir Ed, ang hirap ngayon ma-identify ng positive. Okay, nabatan natin kanina. Chikit Celino, good evening sa atin. Good evening din sa Chikit. Nonato, hi Nonato. Good evening, Canton, Sir Ed, watching from Davao. Kamusta na ba si Pulong? Magaling na ba? Nene Maming, magandang gabi sa Nene. Kay Timoteo Ahok. Gandang gabi mga katribo. Robert, Robert, magandang gabi ang ating jiu-jitsu expert. Hindi na tayo pwede mag-jiu-jitsu no? Pwede
Ah,
pa ba tayo magpaturo
pwede,
ng
pwede,
jiu-jitsu?
pwede pa rin kasi ang problema lang, bawat bend natin ngayon, marinig na natin yung
Si Robert Celis ang ating kaibigan na expert Ikabud Bubwit, magandang maulan po sa inyo from Bulacan. Hindi mag-andar signal na puputol. Okay. Nueda Esmalde, good evening Canton Sir Red, mabuhay po ang inyong programa. Maraming salamat. Ikabod, the real earthquake at EMF earthquake tribute sa climate change. Ayan pa. Si Greta turn.
I would suggest that if you would like to really have an understanding of the climate change, you visit suspicious observers. Kay Ben Davidson. I've been following that guy for several years now, and I have found his podcast
Magaling.
very ano tawag yan? Very knowledgeable. He's knowledgeable and
And
educational.
yung script niya, napakagandang maganda, magaling yung English niya. Love Peace, tanong ko lang po kay Ed. Kuya Ed, do you get messages po ba through dreams?
Yeah. Si Canton, alam niya na, I always, I have certain dreams that I have never forgotten. So, the first dream that I vividly remember was that I was sitting on top of a pyramid, not the Egyptian, but more of the Mexican, the Mayan, Incan pyramid. And I was sitting cross-legged on a lotus position on top of the pyramid. And I was looking straight ahead. And then when I turned to the right, nakita ko yung pine tree. The pine tree burst into burst into a golden starlights. And parang nakikita ako na parang sparkling na gold color. And I still remember. I have a lot of dreams that I remember because what I do is I write them down. I mean, immediately when you magising kayo, you should have totoo yung sinabi, you should have a paper and a pencil besides you, on the table beside you or nearby na pag gising mo, ano yung dream mo, isulat mo na agad kasi after a few moments, malimutan mo na yun. But once you write it down, hindi mo na makalimutan yun.
Tama. Minsan talaga naman nakaka-receive ka ng mga mensahe through dreams and i-consider mo yan as valid message, no? It could be either na ang mensahe niyan i-warn ka or tinuturo sa'yo kung saan ka pupunta o anong dapat mong gawin. I-consider mo as one of your courses of action. Okay?
Isa sa mga yung sabi mo kung nakaka-receive ba ng information. Yeah, I mean one time kami ni Canton, but in my case, I was told that I have been coming back to this earth for thousands of years. Sabi ko, marami pala akong karma.
Hindi ka na natuto.
Pabalik-balik, hindi ako natuto. Pero in the sense, kung looking at it from a positive viewpoint, bumabalik ako dito to share. In other words, I'm helping people to awaken.
Ako, at least ako mabuti natuto ako. Natuto na ako. Nung nakarang hearing kay Gordon, nakausap sila ng abogado, in-interrogate nila yung isang abogado, Attorney Leong. Magagaling yung mga bata ni Duterte. Graduate ng Ateneo de Davao. Sabi ni Gordon, alam mo, bata ka pa, magaling ka. Pero huwag ka sana mahulog sa sistema. I-rectify mo yung mga pagkakamali mo. Bata ka pa, di mo nare-realize pa yan. Gaya ko, nung bata pa ako, masyado akong aggressive. Pero mabuti na lang nandiyan yung magulang ko, may mga elders akong pinakinggan, at nakaalis ako dyan sa sistema. Dahil kapag hindi ka nakaalis sa sistema, pagsisisihan mo yan habang buhay.
Bakit yung Leong na yun, he was
Siyempre magaling sila mag-justify, abogado Kahit kasalanan na, masama
Oo.
yung ginagawa nila, na itutuwid nila yan base dun sa justification na pinipresent nila. Oo, makakalusot ka nga,
Yung
pero
sabi nila, meron nga narinig eh, pag nahuli ka, deny to death.
tapos siyempre, pag tanda mo niyan, hindi mo siguro pag binalik-balikan yung mga nangyari, dahil na-deprive mo yung isa ng justice, yan ang tinatawag na hindi mo patatawarin ang sarili mo. Sabi ni,
Yung term, yung word na yun, Canton, let me share that. Yung, yung pag to forgive oneself, forgive yourself and forgive others, or you ask forgiveness from others. And one way, there is a process that you can do. You don't need to talk. Sabi nga ni Dolores Cannon, you don't need to talk to the person. Mas maganda if you can. But if hindi mo kaya gawin yan, you can put the intention. But you have to remember na yung ginagawa ko niyan is I categorize yung discrete number of years. So the first 5 years of my life, the next 5 years, the next 5 years, ganun, until to date. And every discrete period, let's say when I was 1 to 5 years old, I can still remember one incident when I was 5 years old. Hinabol ako ng tatay ko kasi ayaw ko magpagupit. Yun. Ma-remember ko, I was still around, I think I was 4 or 5 years old. So, kaya sabi ko, tatay, sorry sabi ko, tigas na talaga ng ulo ko. So, kasi patay na tatay ko, hindi ko naman, I am only remember it now that I'm trying to remember ano ba yung
hindi mo marirealize yung kapag bata ka wala kang
If you do it on that basis na ano ba yung when you were 1 to 5, what can you remember? Then from 6 to 10, what can you remember? And then you try to realize ano yung year, what are the years? What were those years? So, you go back to this and if you remember meron kang ginawang kalukuhan o kasalanan, minsan yung taong nasaktan sa'yo, wala na yun eh. Hindi mo na alam. So, you just send out the intention na sorry sorry. Kung nandiyan ka pa, sorry So, if you do that, that is one way of asking forgiveness or forgiving yourself.
Ako ganyan din.
You can do that until the present moment.
Lalo na pag dumating ka na din sa stage ng rituals mo, meditation mo, na gusto mo maging malinis ka, ayan, magdadatingan na yung mga mischief. Yung mga mischief mo during yun. Pero maganda naman yun, that brings to your realization na nagawa mong kasalanan yan, ina-acknowledge mo, and then good sign naman yan kaysa sa hindi mo maalala. I used to be scared, sabi ni Nene, when I was a kid, that makes me curious and so interested of many things in this world regarding entities, but not anymore. We need to be brave and strong, spiritually and physically. Actually, Nene, yung mga maligno, mga espiritu, mas malakas tayo doon kaysa sa kanila. Tayo binubuo tayo ng espiritu, meron tayong kaluluwa, at meron tayong katawan. Sila wala, kaya wag tayong matakot sa kanila. Romel Kaingin, good evening Sir Anton, Sir Ed. Kay Ferdi, hi Ferdi, Mang Ed, ask ko naman, ang di mo na padalhan ka ng pakpak na paniki kung totoo sila. As maraming demonyo, napadalan ka ng itim na pakpak. Hi Arnold, magandang gabi sa iyo. Ano po news sa WOTN? Wala pa, makikibalita tayo. Siguro ngayong Webes, interview natin si Doc Harry. May nakita ko nagtataas ng kamay, nawala na. Kanto, noted po lahat ng sinabi.
Angeles ata yun? Yung kanina, Angeles ba yun?
Ha?
Angeles at ang pangalan nun kanina?
Tungkol saan?
Sabi mo, nagtaas ng kamay. Parang mayroong isa dyan sa Telegram.
Pero hindi ko nakita ko na nawala eh. Kanto, noted po lahat ng sinabi nyo. Kilala ko po personally si Ma'am Christine Carion. Nakasama ko po siya sa V2 before. Thanks po. Okay, very well. Thank you. And Chito Arcilia, magandang gabi sa iyo, Chito. Pwede po ba tayo mag-chat ka, Ed? Sabi ni Love Peace.
Oh, schedule. Give me the time and date.
Okay. Tapos sa Telegram naman si Kaardo. Ha? Si Love Peace.
Sino yun? Si Arcilia?
Hindi. Si Love Peace.
Love
Hindi,
Peace.
from
Nasa
Canada.
Telegram pa siya?
Wala. Nasa YouTube siya ngayon.
YouTube. I see. Okay.
Diba, ano na lang sa kanya, paki-arrange na lang. Yan ang tunay na liar lawyer. Buti na nga lang, hindi ako nag-law. Kasi sabi ng tatay ko, no, huwag ka magkabugado. Masyado kang witty kid. At marami kang paiiyakin. Hindi magiging maganda yan.
Pero yan lang minsan, yung
Huh?
may dalawa akong kilala. One is my brother-in-law. The other one is a schoolmate. Yung hindi nila ma-accept yung graduate sila, they bar passer. Nakapasa sila sa bar ng law. But they cannot accept na yung kliyente na lalapit sa kanila guilty. Like for instance, mayroong guilty ng rape. Tapos yung interviewin nila, malaman nila na guilty talaga yun. And they cannot hindi nila makuha sa loob nila na itong guilty person na to walang sala nila through their ability. So these two persons that I know of left did not practice law anymore.
Ayun na nga. Mahirap talaga.
Ay, baliktad naman yun yung
na ano sila dun sa profession na ganito pala yan.
Oh.
Nilda Bukirin, good evening sa Nilda. Si Love Peace. Every person po you mentioned, Canton, I know, including Dolores Cannon, because of my awakening. Sabi ni Love Peace. Siguro maganda, Ed, na magkaroon tayo ng awakening. Di ba noon pa natin binabalak ito, spiritual awakening segment.
Pwede naman yung chat na sila lang, yung parang group discussion lang. You don't need to broadcast it. Kayo lang dyan. Yung ginawa natin sa Telegram mismo, yung sa FF, yung di ka pa sisil, Pilipinas will win. Pero dalawa lang ata tayo, tatlo tayo doon eh.
Hindi, kasi minsan naman yung posting lang ng posting, hindi naman na Maganda rin yung talagang merong exchange.
Discussion, exchange.
Okay.
I'm willing to do that. I'm free naman most of the time.
Hindi, magkaroon tayo ng show ng spiritual awakening and then magkaroon ng sharing. Ang tatay ko noon, siya yung mapilyo. Kasi may nagtanong ng oras. Di ko po alam noon paano tumingin ng oras. Sabi niya, tulad ng kahapon, pag naalala ko, natatawa lang ako. Anong oras na? Katulad din ng kahapon. Tama naman yan. Paulit-ulit ang buhay. No? So, depende na yan kung nasisihan ka pa sa paulit-ulit na pangyayari sa buhay mo. Ako medyo nabuboring ako Gusto ko pabago-bago.
Ano ba yan? You're 10 years younger than me, di ba?
Oo
naman. 71 na ako I'm 71 years old.
Yeah, 12. Beno Ed. Nakadalawang oras din tayo. Napakasarap ng ating talakayan. And ayan, pag-usapan natin kung pwede tayo magkaroon ng spiritual awakening show. Si Nilda, of course, nandiyan niya. Kasama natin yan sa UFO.
But I'd like to do it, yung hindi broadcast, yung tayo lang muna. Kasi mas maganda yung exchange. Kung sino yung gustong sasama. Yung talaga
maybe we can do that on Hopin.
Register ka na sa Open?
Meron na tayo.
Meron na. Ayun, maganda.
Ano po Telegram nyo? Ano ba Telegram mo, Ed?
Ordo.
Ardo.
Ordo. Hindi Ardo. Ordo. That's my old. Actually, the reason it's Ordo is because that's an old name of mine. Username. Ordo.
Ordo of Kayo, ha? Ordo of Kayo, ha?
Ordo.
Ordo Kayos, ha? Kaos, ha? Yan, Ordo. Hanapin mo lang, Ordo.
Ano ba yan?
Kasali po ako pag
Novo.
gumawa kayo. Oh,
Ordo,
siyempre, siyempre.
it's not order because it's URDO.
Akala ko order.
Hindi order.
Order ka, ha?
Novo Ordo. Novo Ordo. New order yan.
Illuminati ka, ha?
Hindi, ang meaning kasi ng or is aso eh.
Tama.
Or,
Urdu. As
dog.
in, Urduha. Ayan.
Ano yan? Ordo.
Royalty yan. Mali yung royalty. Siya sabi ni Michael, sali daw siya pag gumawa tayo ng spiritual awakening. Of course, i-announce natin yan. At love, peace, I'll join po. Cheryl Mali, good evening. Good night. Good night na sa inyo.
Okay, inantok na ako. Yeah.
Inantok na. So, yan lamang ang naging kabuuan ng aming palatuntunan para sa gabing ito. Ed, good night na ba?
Good night.
Good night na. Okay, hanggang sa susunod naming edisyon ng Alien Talk at napakaganda at napakasarap na kayo ay aming nakasama muli. Maganda sana available tayo sa Spiritual Awakening. Yes. At pag-uusapan namin ni Ed kung paano yan natin sisimulan at tulad ng kanyang minungkahi na tayo-tayo lang, hindi na natin i-broadcast. Para naman mas masaya ang palitan. Okay yan. May platform na tayo. May platform na tayo na pwedeng gamitin. I cannot find Urdu. T.me/
Saan ba yung, may Facebook ba siya?
Wala na sa YouTube siya. Nasa Telegram ka.
If she has a Facebook, pwede ko ibigay yung phone number.
Phone number dun sa Telegram.
Sa Telegram.
Ano bang nakalagay sa Facebook mo? Ardo Ray.
Ako? Ardo Ray. Ardo Ray.
ARDORI.
Eduardo Neri.
Eduardo Neri. Hanapin mo na lang. Love is.
Ardo Ray yan. Ardo Ray. Kasi Eduardo Neri yan. Ardo Ray.
Bien, kung ako hanapin mo, Anton
Di ba si Anton? Pwede.
Tapos ibigay ko sa iyo yung link, ha? Okay? So, good night na sa lahat. At hanggang sa sunod nating broadcast. Ka-Anton, sa ngalan ng UFO Society of the Philippines, nag-iwan sa lahat ng isa pong magandang gabi.